Hi, welcome to my channel, The Tiny Bookcase. Today I wanted to update you on my Victober readathon, so stick around and join me for this video. I wanted to just give a quick update of how it's been going for me with Victober readathon. Victober was created by Katie from Books and Things. This is my first year participating in Victober, and so far I am feeling quite positive. I have finished 2 novels, although they are not the main novels I chosen for my readathon, but I am feeling a bit accomplished, at least for myself, seeing it is my first year. So I finished Phyllis by Elizabeth Gaskell, and also I have just finished Diary of a Nobody by George Grossman. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And so far I am enjoying what I'm reading. I really did enjoy Diary of a Nobody. That was actually just kind of put at the last minute. I just added it to my TBR, and I have to say that I was really sucked into this story. I really did enjoy this tale. Pretty much we're just hearing details of his life as he's journaling in his diary. So we get to know his family and his friends and all the goings on in his life, and he seems quite taken with his life. So Mr. Pooter actually believes that his life is worth noting, that it is interesting, and we just hear about all the goings on in his life and his friends and family. There's a lot featured about Mr. Goings and Mr. Cummings, who are friends of his, and his son Lupin, who formerly was William, I believe, and decided to take his middle name of Lupin, and how his relationship with his father, how Mr. Charles feels about the choices that his son is making in his life, and how he wants for him to make better choices. So pretty much we just kind of are hearing about this man's life and all the things he is doing, and what is going on around him with his relationships. And I did find this very hilarious. There is just these situations that he gets himself into, and I just found it very funny, and I just love this story. At the end of the story, I found it quite sad because I felt I was losing a friend. I really did and really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and actually I should have just given it 5 stars. I really love this book, so I totally recommend it if you decide to read this book. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I think it is a very great novel and a great read for Victober. And this actually kind of fits in the challenge. One of the challenges that I think the challenge Katie chose was to read a book that was set in the city and or countryside. So this takes place in the city. So I have actually read a book in the city, so I kind of can check that off my list for the challenge. And our next novel that and the next novel that I finished was Cousin Phyllis by Elizabeth Gaskell. I actually finished this one first, and I like this one as well. This takes place in the countryside, so again another check for the challenge. Although the funny thing is that I actually have my main novels, the actual ones I mentioned in my TBR for Victober, were actually Wuthering Heights for the countryside and A Tale of Two Cities for the city portion of the challenge. and I have started both of those, but those are going a bit slower. I just found Cousin Phyllis and A Diary of a Nobody just easier to read. Well, actually, in the case of A Diary of a Nobody, I actually have that on audio book, so I listened to that one. My library only had it on the audio book, and I I don't remember about Cousin Phyllis. I think that was also on audiobook as well. So in Cousin Phyllis, the story is narrated by Paul, who is Phyllis's cousin, and he is. This book starts out with him, uh, starting off his adult life. He has just received a position as I believe, an apprentice to a friend of his father's. I think they're working. He's working as an engineer, a part of the railway, something like that. I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's been a couple weeks since I read this book, but this story is told by Paul, and he soon learns he has some relations nearby, and goes and seeks them out and starts to become acquainted with them. But this story is actually about his cousin Phyllis, and we learn about her life and um, a relationship that starts to unfold with a friend of Paul's. I would say I didn't enjoy this book as much as I did The Diary of Nobody, but I did like it. Um, I like the way cousin Phyllis was portrayed in the story. I like that we heard that she was someone who was who would crave knowledge. I enjoy this book. I like the characters in the book. Um, and I did give it 3 stars on Goodreads. So far, I think that I've been doing pretty well with my Victober TBR. I'm just starting Jane Eyre. I chose this book to read also during Victober because I am doing another readathon, which is the Boo to You readathon, and this was one of the books that was on that TBR as well, and I figured it could do dual role for both readathons. So I'm just starting on the first chapter of Jane Eyre. I think I am on the second chapter of Wuthering Heights, which was my main choice for my country challenge for Victober. And A Tales Two Cities, I think I'm just barely on page 2 of that book. That's going a bit slower. I find it a bit more difficult with that story. There's so much Charles Dickens' words and his description. I really feel like I keep having to go over what I'm reading just to make sure I'm absorbing the story. This is the first time I've read A Tale of Two Cities. I have seen a screen adaptation, but that was many years ago. I don't remember really what the story is about. So this is going to be like totally new. Well, it's feeling like it's totally new because I did see that screen adaptation, but I really don't remember what the story was about. But of course, I know Jane Eyre. I'm curious to learn any differences in the screen adaptation to the actual novel because I have seen several screen adaptations of Jane Eyre. Wuthering Heights, I have seen a screen adaptation as well. I think I have seen 2. But the one I remember more vividly, because I've seen it, it's been the most recent version I've seen, is the screen adaptation with Tom Hardy. And I just had added that to my queue, so me and my daughter are going to watch that soon. I'm looking forward to it just to see if there are any differences with the novel compared to the screen adaptation. I'm pretty sure there's going to be. It is quite a lengthy novel, and I'm looking forward to finishing up these novels. I'm quite excited about these books that I'm reading. they're quite a hefty bunch, I will say. I find it interesting that I probably would never have tackled these many Victorian novels at once if it hadn't been for Victober. But wish me luck. I hope everything goes well and that I do finish all these novels in the time that's left of this readathon. Um, but I am really looking forward to watching the screen adaptation of Wuthering Heights. I also decided to read some Victorian poetry. So right now, I am in the middle of The Lady of Shallot. I have finished the first part, so I'm moving on to part 2. I wanted to add a little bit more Victorian reading to my TBR, so I thought that reading some Victorian poetry would help out. I first heard The Lady of Shallot in one of my favorite novels, Anne of Green Gables, and I've always loved that poem. So I'm happy to read this for Victober. And there are some more works of poetry from Victorian poets I want to read. There are several poems of Emily Bronte in this book. Also, there are some of Lewis Carroll works in this book as well. So I'm really looking forward to reading those. But that's all that I have on updates for you today. So I hope you enjoyed this video and will decide to join me for another video. But until next time, take care, God bless, see you soon, bye.